Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay? You can hear me okay. Hi. Yeah. Hi, good day. Thank you to Julia and all the other organizers for giving me the opportunity to present here what I'm doing today and how I ended up doing what I'm doing, particularly after my postdoc. I'm a strategy consultant with a company called Catenion. And more on this, what I'm actually doing at the latter part of my talk. This is me in a nutshell. I come from Croatia. I studied there molecular biology at the University of Zagreb, Faculty of Science. In 2008, I came to Berlin. I got an offer at the MDC to do a PhD in a lab of Gary Lewin. After my PhD, I had an interesting idea for a postdoc project, and I was lucky that it followed through. I stayed at the MDC, however, I changed the fields completely. Following 2 years of postdocs, I did a little bit of soul searching, had a short gig as on faculty at the Toro College Berlin. I was lecturing in biological psychology, which was a really interesting experience, I have to say. And finally, end of 2018, I landed with Catenion, that is, as I said, a strategy consultancy where I'm still today in a function of manager. So maybe just to introduce a little bit more my scientific, my academic experience, I was quite fortunate to work on what other people outside of the field call the second ugliest animal in the world as a role model, what the insiders call it probably the cutest role model in the world to work on the naked mole rat. Particularly, I was looking at certain aspects of molecular physiology, somatosensory signaling, a lot of patch clamp back in the days. Following this, I did a postdoc also at the MDC in the lab of Matthias Selbach. I was combining certain aspects of protein-protein interactions with molecular evolution. Primarily, I was looking in a collaboration with Svante Pääbo at the differences in protein-protein interactions between humans, modern humans, and Neanderthals. So this is my academic time. I like to say that causation is not correlation, but since I left academia, both David Julius got a Nobel Prize for the discovery of the capsaicin receptor, and also Svante Pääbo got the Nobel Prize for the sequencing of Neanderthal genome. However, in 2018, I kind of realized that scientifically I'm a little bit all over. I was working on different projects, different collaborations. However, what I realized is that doing science for me was not as exciting as learning about science that other people were doing. And also, kind of I got a feeling that I prefer the faster paced approach more than being a little bit on the slower side. What scientific kind of experiments and scientific endeavor is, unless you're a computational biologist, what I was not. So what I kind of knew is that I wanted to stay close to science. However, I didn't know what exactly I wanted to do. And I was then invited or talked to a good friend of mine who was working for Catenion. Kind of the strategy consultancy has this overarching, encompassing, broad view of everything that you can do as a scientist outside of academia. So this is kind of how I landed with Catenion. Pretty much fell in love with what I'm doing, and I'm still there. And in the next couple of slides, I would just like to tell you what is the gist of what we do, what is the gist of the day, how the day-to-day work is, what we're doing, and how you potentially, if you're interested, can also maybe land a job in a strategy consultancy. So the premise and the definition, how we like to think about ourselves, is that we are science-driven strategy consultancy that caters to biotech and pharma. And primarily we're catering where we are addressing questions that senior leadership has regarding the early stages, so research, discovery stages, and development stages of drugs. And the premise here is that both drug discovery and development, and later and also commercialization, are extremely long, extremely risky, and extremely expensive paths. So here, if you see, is if you want to bring one drug to the market, you need to spend somewhere between $1 and $2 billion. You need to work for more than 10 years, quite often also more than 20 years. And only 10% of drugs that end up in clinical studies end up actually in humans. That doesn't take into the account all the other preclinical candidates that never passed into human testing. So what we believe is that using the science-based approaches, we can reduce this risk and increase the chances of success. So these are kind of metrics that resonate quite well with the industry that is really trying kind of how to optimize, how to increase processivity, how to increase the success, and how to decrease the cost of bringing new drugs to the market. So Catenion, real quickly, we are kind of at the intersection of business, science and technology, and drug development. We're specialized for catering, as I said, to senior executives and also investors. We also work with a couple of non-governmental organizations. We're happy that we're celebrating our 20 years. That was before my time at Catenion. I'm now in my 6th years. We have a team of 40, mostly PhDs coming from different areas of life science, and a lot of them are also computational biologists and bioinformaticians. We're quite international. We work for our clients from the US, Japan, and also quite a lot of Europe. We're headquartered in Berlin, but have offices across the world. How much time do I still have? Okay, good. This is a busy slide that kind of talks about, non-focused slide that talks about what our focus is. If we would divide what we do, there are a couple of aspects here. Strategic insights, basically, we're trying to answer the questions how to build better organizations, how to communicate strategy, how to manage a portfolio in a time where everyone is fighting for resources in big organizations. How do you prioritize, right? So we're using scientifically kind of positioned approaches, data-driven approaches, and also our expertise in order to answer these questions. For instance, how to prioritize amongst all the options where you can go in and develop your drugs. Where do you want to put your bets on? We are really heavy on science, technology, and medicine. We are helping our clients to find interesting assets that they can in-license, look for inorganic growth. As I think I have demonstrated, the industry is extremely risky, so sometimes drugs that are coming from your own pipeline fail. You would like then also to in-license assets or try to find certain inorganic opportunities. So basically working on the business development side. We use and have a lot of data in working for our clients. We have seen that more and more data is there. We are integrating multiple databases, both commercial and public, in order to answer hard questions and also to help support our strategy consulting. And last but not least, we also know that every good organization at the bottom needs to have a good culture, good models, and good people. So this is also one of the aspects where quite often some of the larger companies are doing a lot of soul searching as well. So this is kind of the gist. To finish with the last 2 slides, I wanted to give you kind of 2 examples of certain projects that I'm on, because I know that it can sound a little bit too abstract. Here, 2 projects that I have managed in the last 2 years. The first one was for a US-based commercial stage public biotech. They came to us with the question, how do we manage our portfolio? And given the financial constraints that they were facing, they had to prioritize between 2 clinical assets that can go to multiple diseases, multiple clinical trials, and also 4 preclinical assets. So from our side, we had a team of 4 consultants over 2.5 months. We have used the approach that we like to call a 6-dimensional approach, so multidimensional criteria-driven evaluations, basically wanting to objectively compare apples to apples and come up with a recommendation. And the outcome of this project was that a presentation to the senior executives that managed then to focus with their clinical and also preclinical assets given the resources. In the second project, we were working for a private biotech from the US that finished the Series A, which is kind of a first larger significant investment of money in order to kind of design to build molecules into the clinical trials. They only had preclinical assets, and they asked us what are the best diseases for our assets that had a relatively complex modality. So what we have assembled, we had a team of 4 consultants and heavy support, especially the initial stages of the project, from our data science unit, where we actually scraped the whole universe of possibilities and then used the criteria-driven prioritization in order to narrow down the opportunities for the client themselves. So the outcome of the project was the recommendation of basically strategic framework, how to go, how to develop, and how to focus, again, with the resources that are limiting there. So that's it from me. I hope I managed to show you that there is life after postdoc, especially if you decide not to stay in academia, and thanks once again for inviting me here.